Hello Toy Collector fans, Universal Toy Collector here and welcome to the channel. And welcome to another episode of My Collecting Life, the series where I get to chat with you, members of the toy collecting community, about your own personal collections, finding out what got you into collecting in the first place and what gives you that toy collecting buzz. Okie dokie then, you lot. So once again, we're at that time of the week for another episode of My Collecting Life. And I'm betting the question is, who is the guest on this week's episode? Well, why don't we all find out? But before you do, let me run you through the drill. Grab yourselves a cuppa, sit yourselves down, put your feet up, make yourselves comfortable, and let's take a look at some of the collection in a musical montage. Okie dokie then. So what an absolutely fantastic collection that was. You had some Muppets, you had some dinosaurs, you had a bit of Dark Crystal and Labyrinth. And they're not the sort of bits that you see in everyday collections, apart from me, because I get to see them every day. It's an absolute delight to welcome to the series my beautiful wife, Georgie. Hello.
Hello.
Well, this is very bizarre, isn't it? Wow, I've got
It
to
is
say.
slightly
Yeah,
slightly
yeah.
strange, but very exciting all at the same time.
Oh, well, bless your cotton socks. Bless your cotton socks. So we're talking in the green room, and apparently you've not seen one of these episodes. So I'm a little bit disappointed by that, but there you go. So I'll just run it through with you. We've got 10 questions for you, all about you and your collection and stuff like that. And run time roughly about an hour, and it will be an hour because dinner's got to be put on, isn't it? So we've got to
Yeah,
sort
of
those
course.
bits out. So
Yeah,
yeah.
make do.
So anyway, how are you? I mean, I don't know why I'm asking. I've already spoke to you about 5 seconds ago, but you all
Yeah,
good?
no, I'm good.
Yeah.
It's been a nice
Okay.
weekend. The weather's been nice, so that's always
Has
good.
it? Well, yeah, I guess it has. It's been all right. It's been all right. Right, should we crack on then?
Let's go.
Okay, right. What toy lines were you into as a kid, and what memories do you have of those toy lines?
Ooh, I think toys that I played with as a kid certainly were things like strawberry shortcake, Care Bears, My Little Ponies, all
Of
the
course, yeah,
regular
yeah.
sort of My Little Ponies, the regular girly pink stuff.
Yeah,
Um, those are what I vividly remember actually playing with, but I was brought up within a family that collected anyway. So
yeah,
some of my earlier things that I didn't play with as such, but were bought from an, I don't know, maybe age of like 7 plus that I can remember were things like Stive teddy bears, Merry Thought teddy bears, but they were collector's items. So I was always brought
yeah,
up with that sort of feeling that these don't get played with, but they're really pretty to look at and up on the shelf they go, you know.
yeah.
So things like tin plate toys, Shumo, all that sort of thing.
So you said you were
Yeah.
brought up in like a collecting sort of like lifestyle because your parents collected.
Mm.
What was it that they were into? I mean, well, obviously I know, but for those of you who are watching, so what is it that your mum sort of like collected? Because it was predominantly your mum that collected, wasn't it? Or was it your dad as well?
Yeah. Yeah, so well, a bit of both actually. I mean, we used to go to toy fairs as a family, I remember vividly. So dad used to like sort of the clockwork toys and things. Mum was more into sort of the dolls, bears, um, all those sort of China dolls, and that sort of thing. But I used to like the wind up and go toys and stuff. But again,
Yeah,
it was all quite still sort of delicate stuff. A lot of the things had separate keys and on the clockwork front of things.
mm.
So I remember that vividly as a kid going round, always been told not to touch anything as you're going round the
Yeah.
stalls. Yeah.
I mean, was that exciting for you as a kid going around those toy fairs, or did you get quite bored and stuff like that because you weren't allowed to touch some of the stuff?
No, I found it quite amazing actually looking at all the stuff that was there. But I always knew I was gonna get like a fizzy pop drink at the end of it in the cafe. So
Oh, God.
that was always a draw for me, like a
Yeah,
chocolate bar and
yeah,
a fizzy drink or something. But yeah, I did. I certainly um did not want to go. I was like being dragged round and huffing and thinking, oh God, let's just go. I used to really enjoy it. And obviously, if we bought anything, then
yeah,
I was over the moon. There were some things that I could play with, but it was always very intricate, delicate stuff. So again, it was always I was shown how to use it and make it work properly
yeah,
without overwinding stuff, because that was a real no-no. Make sure you never overwind anything because it would break it and then the spring would
yeah.
go and then that would be that.
I mean, did
So
you sort of like know the difference at that age of the toys that you could play with and the toys that you weren't supposed to play with, and they were just there to be part of a collection and look at?
oh
Because I mean,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
quite a young age. You were
definitely.
saying about 7. That's a young age.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, like all the strawberry shortcakes and bits and bobs, definitely because they were brand new out of a packet. So it was,
Yeah,
off we go with that. And we lived within sort of like an American community at the time. There were a lot of houses that rent out and people that come over and work and stuff. And they used to have a lot of sales. So we had a lot of contacts within sort of the American community.
yeah.
And I think one of my biggest ones was a strawberry shortcake house that I had, which I know Mrs. Scuba Pete has
Oh,
in the
okay. Yeah, yeah,
background that I see. So that seeing that brings back a lot of memories. So I used to have one and playing with. So yeah, yeah, always used to know to differentiate between what I could. But I wasn't one of these sort of kids that got a biro and scribbled on a doll's face or wanted to give it extra blusher or
yeah.
again, they were all I sort of respected my toys and they all got put away after they finished playing with and so yeah, I never really sort of
Never really
I don't
what?
know. I don't know, just I was gonna use a certain word there, but, like, roughed my toys up or broke
Oh, okay.
'em
Yeah,
or,
yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, cut their hair or anything like that.
What about Christmases and birthdays? I mean, do you have any vivid memories of like getting a certain gift for your birthday or for Christmas?
I think that strawberry shortcake house was probably one because it was very difficult
Yeah,
to hide, so you kind of knew in a massive box if there was something that you might have asked for Christmas, what was
yeah,
coming.
yeah,
Um, so there aren't many that I remember. I do remember sort of getting games consoles, as I started to get a little bit older. Sort
yeah.
of I think in the Amiga 500, I think I remember getting one Christmas. I don't remember too much about some of the other toys I got for Christmas or birthdays.
Mm.
Um, we used to get I used to get things on shopping trips occasionally and stuff, but
Yeah.
Yeah, some of my memory banks are not as good as they were.
Yeah, I know. I can vouch for that for sure. I mean, I've got to say, I got a real vivid memory of a Christmas, and it was probably about 8, 9 years ago, and well, maybe longer. And someone bought me an Xbox game. It was a football game, and I thought, "Oh, that's really cool. Thank you so much." And it had Xbox One on there, and I was like, "Oh," I said, "Thank you so much for getting me this Xbox One game, but I don't have an Xbox One. I just have the sort of like the version before that." And that certain person got up and walked out, and then come back in with another box with an actual Xbox One in it. So that was a pretty cool. So yeah, I don't know who that
What the
was. Do
chances?
you
No.
remember that? Yeah,
No,
what the
no,
chances? But
no,
yeah,
what the
that was
chances of
pretty
that?
cool. That
Well,
was pretty cool.
well done
What
that
about
one.
what about Saturday morning TV? I mean, because as a kid, I mean, we're roughly the same age, give or take a few years. I was
Mm,
into like watching like He-Man, G.I. Joe, Transformers, all those kind of kids TV series that were on in the
mm.
day. I mean, was there
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
that stood out for you much at all? How influential was the TV back in the day for you as a kid growing up with your
I
toys
mean,
and stuff like that?
I used to watch anything and everything.
Yeah,
Smurfs, gummy bears. I used to collect Smurfs actually thinking about it. I used to collect the little figures. I used to have a
yeah,
whole little house of the Smurfs. Used to love Brave Star. Um, so many things that I've probably forgotten. Things that I like Dogtanian and the Three Musketeers, anything that
oh
was, like,
god, yeah,
dubbed with
yeah, there's a
English.
cartoon. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, yeah.
Ulysses, I think, came up
Yeah, I remember
recently
that.
as well. I used to
Yep.
watch that. Terrorhawks, of course.
Yeah,
Good old Windsor Davis. Um, but everything and anything that was on. I mean, I remember
yeah,
watching Going Live a lot as a slightly older teenager. I can't
yeah,
remember the whenever the younger, like the older ones were, the older morning telly shows were, but any of those sort of cartoons and stuff, yeah, Danger Mouse,
yeah,
um, yeah, Thundercats, yeah, He-Man,
yeah.
She-Ra, everything.
Oh, She-Ra. Yeah, Shabby likes a bit of She-Ra, doesn't he? Bless his
Yeah.
cottons. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What about comics and stuff like that? Were you ever into comics, books, or anything like that at all, or not really?
No, not too much actually.
No?
I was more of a physical media than a paper. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely preferred toys and actions. I never used to collect comics at all, actually. I think I might have bought one one episode of Viz, is it?
okay, yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah.
Viz magazine.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, no, no, not on a sort of a paper media. I never
yeah.
used to. No, no,
Okay,
more of the
okay.
figures.
And I've heard you mention before as well, you used to dibble dabble in a bit of Star Wars. You had some Star Wars bits as a kid. Was that bought for you purposely, or was that you just got that from somewhere else, or someone else
No, do you know,
handed
I
it to
I
you?
was never into Star Wars. I oof, heaven forbid, dirty words. Um, I was never into it. I hadn't
Yeah,
watched the movies, nothing like that. But I do remember we used to help out with, like, jumble sales, and there was a Scouts jumble
yeah,
sale we used to help out. And I remember there was an ATST came in, I used to call it the chicken walker back then,
yeah,
the land speeder and stuff. I just thought these were incredible. They looked amazing, these vehicles. And I remember,
yeah,
playing with them and stuff. And I think I might have convinced mum to buy them. I'm sure I had them. I remember having them at home, but I never really
yeah,
connected the dots with where they were
yeah.
from and what they were and
Oh,
all that
okay,
sort of
yeah, yeah,
stuff. And there was this guy swinging from underneath this this walk-in whatever it was that I didn't know what it was at the time. So I do remember having figures and original vehicles and stuff, but
yeah,
again, just didn't connect the dots with what they were from the movies or anything like that.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm really sad to say I wasn't really into it back then.
No, that's okay. I mean, that's okay. I mean, I just remember you saying that you had it, some Star Wars bits as a kid, but
Yeah.
I don't think we ever really had that sort of like conversations. We probably did. You know what I'm like with my memory. But I mean, fast forward a lot of years,
Mm,
and you've certainly grown into Star Wars now, which is great for
yes.
me. And but you went to a toy fair, not a toy fair, a car boot. When we first met, and you
Mm,
come back with that Rebel Troop transporter, and what was about
yes.
£2.50. I was
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely delighted with that. So really, you buying that is responsible for everything you see within the collection right now. So how are you
Yeah.
feeling about that?
So
Yeah.
yeah, well done
Yeah.
me. I think that's great though, and I mean, it was nice that you, like, restored that because it wasn't 100%, and I wouldn't expect
It
it to be
wasn't. Well,
100% for £2.50. I
no.
was a little bit sad that I'd missed all of his other original vehicles, and somebody else had
Yeah.
bought those before I got to his store, sadly. But yeah, it was nice that that was kind of a starting point for this wonderful world that we seem to have created within our
Well,
home.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, I was sort of like collecting little bits anyway before we met, and then
Mm.
knowing that you'd come from a collecting family and you didn't mind it so much, and you were kind of into it in your own way with certain things, I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. So I mean, that was always helpful. So that was yeah, very good, very good. What was your favourite toy line and why? Or did it sort of like change as the years went on? As you got older, you skipped from one thing to another.
Uh, I mean, the favourite one as a kid would have been strawberry shortcake, I suppose. I keep saying
Yeah,
strawberry, sorry. But I think so I had a lot of stuff for that,
yeah,
and a lot of the dolls from it. I mean, I took a right turn at the traffic lights. I used to dabble a little bit with Snoopy and, basically anything that came along at some of the sales that we went to, you know?
yeah,
Um, but that was sort of just that was sort of my childhood plunge. Later on, I think I don't remember too much collecting sort of in my sort of middle teens and things
yeah,
of what I was into then. I think there's been a massive gap in my life with not collecting. I mean, I suppose occasional bears might pop up and things like that.
yeah,
Um, but there's a massive gap from when I stopped collecting as a kid to, adult age.
yeah.
Um, so which
Well, that was
is
going to be my next question. We'll get to that in a minute. So just wind your neck in, and just for
sorry.
that's okay. So I mean, with the strawberry shortcake, then I mean, was that quite a big line back in the day? I mean, was there lots of it that you could get, like different characters and vehicles and play
I mean,
sets, or not really?
all of yeah, there was a lot of components to it. I mean, all of my all of my games, I said, from the community that was around us and those sort of sales.
Yeah,
Um, so the houses, there were, strawberry making gardens and things, lots of different characters, little mobiles and stuff. And I used to always set them up actually next door to My Little Ponies with the stable and the
yeah, yeah,
parlor and that sort of thing, basically because it's all pink and it all matched.
yeah,
Um, but I've had a fair lot of it, yeah, and then I
yeah.
collect things like tea trays and, you know, knives and forks and bits and bobs to eat your tea with and things, so it would go
Right.
outside of the figures a little bit with some of the merch that
Yeah,
you could pick up. Mm.
yeah. And is it easy to come by now, the strawberry shortcake stuff? Because I not that I'm going looking for it when we go
Oh,
round a toy fair, but I've not really noticed any. I mean, ever since we've started getting ponies, I've seen bloody ponies everywhere.
yeah,
I'm
ponies are everywhere, literally, and they're
like
everywhere in here, aren't they,
dreaming
as
about
well now?
ponies and stuff like that. Yeah, but I mean, I've not really sort of like seen any strawberry shortcake, or maybe it's just I'm knowing that I'm not
No.
looking for it. I mean, have you seen any around the toy fairs of late?
I mean, I think there's you can buy stuff online, of course.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's more readily available in the States. Again, there are the expert gurus on strawberry shortcake that could that could answer that one. But over
yeah,
here,
yeah,
fairs that we go to, rarely I see. I saw some partially dressed um, little chaps once at one of the toy fairs we went to, and I did
okay,
pick up
yeah,
a complete doll, but she didn't have her little figure with her. So, I can't remember her name now, but she has a little butterfly with her. But she didn't have that. But she was all complete and even had the tags holding her hat on from the original when she got out the box, sort of thing. So,
wow,
but I
wow,
don't. I don't really see too many of them about ponies. Yes, ponies do appear
mm.
to be everywhere in
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
in
yeah,
various
yeah.
guises.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we love it.
So
We love a pony or two, don't we? So moving on to the question that you already started answering anyway. When did you stop playing with your toys and become a collector?
so again, that was that sort of gap. So I'd probably say I did try to stay a kid. I wanted to stay a kid as long as possible. These days,
Yeah.
I feel that kids grow up a little bit too quickly. I mean,
Oh, yes. Yeah,
as
definitely.
soon as you
Yeah.
hit that sort of teen, it's like no, no, no. But
Yeah.
even before that, they just seem to want to grow up a little bit too quick these days. Just in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, well, it's
Um,
shared by many, but yeah.
yeah, but I mean, I suppose. Um, Maybe about sort of 12 or 13, something like that, but I still was in the collecty area with my mum and dad with the bears just a little bit on the
Yeah.
side, but I'd
Yeah.
never sort of, be scanning the Argus catalogue and seeing what I'd want out of that or anything like
Mm.
that. It was all sort of going out on your bicycle and video games. That was kind of, I think, the transition that I went
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
But I still, you know, I did play with them then, and I still respected them as collectors. So I had a bit of a weird childhood because I did both back then as
Right.
well. So
Okay. Cool, cool, cool. So what got you sort of like back into collecting properly then?
um,
My
you,
tummy's rumbling. Me? I said blame
Hmm,
me. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, that's there's a word, one word answer right there. You, I would
Oh,
say,
yeah.
it was really nice that that you've got a passion for it. Um, and there's a wide variety as well. A lot of people just
Yeah.
collect Star Wars, which is absolutely
Yeah, they do.
great, but
Yeah.
you have a variety, which I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, just because of space. Um,
Yeah.
I feel that, yeah, it was because of you, because you encourage, which is lovely, and vice versa. Apart from the pre-orders, I hope they've been cancelled. Thank you very much.
What was that about
Um,
pre-orders?
oh, nothing.
I just had pre-orders and cancelled. I have. I cancelled loads. There's loads of stuff that I
Yeah, yeah,
pre-ordered and
but yeah, I think
cancelled.
it's down
Yeah.
to you. Yeah, it's down to you.
I mean, I mean, when we first met, we because we met like through theatre,
Mm.
as we know, and I think most people in the community know now. So when you found out that I was into collecting and stuff like that, I mean, what were your initial thoughts? Because a lot of people are determined and gone, "Oh bloody hell, you nerd, you geek, or whatever." But you took it quite well. You took it like a champ. So I do
Yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah. I mean, why not? At the end of the day, if it's something that's a part of you, so
Yeah,
why not? I think it's brilliant. And some of the figures, I mean, have just grown with the sculpts of the faces. I do like that. I mean, the Batman armory that I've got
yeah,
that I included. Um, it's just, face sculptures and some of the realism I really like in the modern day
yeah,
figures. And I do like modern. I like vintage as well. Mix
yeah,
it up a little bit.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's pretty wow. Sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming with
yeah.
how large the collection has grown.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's but I mean, listen, I've got to say, you have been really supportive, which is fantastic. And you did say to me, if you see it and you like it, get it, because you don't know when you're going to see it again. So I've kind of literally taken that to town, to be honest with you. And it's,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know,
I've missed some things in the past, and I really wish that
yeah,
I got certain things, and
yeah,
then you look and think, "Oh, well, now that's really gone up in price," or, "I can't even find it," or, um,
yeah.
it's definitely, I think, if it's doable, and one day we will get an A-wing, I think
Well,
I think
yay! That's just brilliant. No,
one day we will.
honestly, no, 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 no. Listen, fine. It's not a necessity. It would be nice to have, and I think the wanting is just as nice
Yeah.
as
I mean,
as
once you've
having
got
it. Yeah,
everything, it's like, where do you go
yeah.
from there,
Well, you
once you've
just
got
moved on to the next
everything?
one, didn't you? There'd be something else. There'd be something always
Yeah,
something
there's
else.
always
But
something else.
so with regards to collection, then I mean, I don't. Again, I know these answers. So, but I'm for the
That's
sake of
okay.
the people watching, what do you currently collect, and do you have a focus on any particular character or toy line?
Um, it has peaked and troughed a little bit. I
Yeah,
think it basically depends on if we're going to toy fairs, what's there. I mean, I'm always on the lookout for anything Muppety, but that can be quite a crossover from actual Muppets to
yeah,
like the Star Tours ones that I collect, where it's Star
yeah,
Wars crossed with Muppets,
yeah,
or Disney characters.
yeah,
They come in both. Um, and then I might just pick up literally something random, and that might slightly take me off on another tangent. So
yeah,
I think I think probably Muppets is my biggest one in whatever area, whether it's going through sort of the Dark Crystal, because it's all kind of within the
yeah,
Henson
yeah,
umbrella.
yeah,
Um, but I think sort of Muppets, Electric Mayhem and stuff I'm on the lookout for at the moment.
yeah,
Dinosaurs are ones that have started to creep in a little bit.
yeah, yeah.
I'm gradually getting some of the original figures from the Henson series. Um, but
Hang on, let me
yeah,
just jot some of
there's
these down because these are ideas for Christmas and birthday presents. So,
I mean, but
but
then I've
yeah,
got like the Back to the Future NECA figures, which I
yeah,
absolutely love, and I just got
yeah,
the Biff from Back to the Future 2, which is starting to complete little areas there. But it's just
yeah,
having a little bit of the space to to show everything off.
Yeah,
But it's just
we
as and
do
when they
need to
come
get
up.
you some more space, don't we, really, so you
Yeah,
can display
you know,
some of your bits and
yeah,
bobs. I
yeah,
I mean, you know, with the Henson figures and stuff like that, I mean, I was always interested in things like the Dark Crystal, and I liked, Labyrinth as a kid as well. But what is it that stands out for you specifically with the Henson and the Muppets and stuff like that? Because I know you're a big fan, and you know you did the convention a little while back where you sat with Hugh Spite and stuff like that.
yeah.
So what is it about the puppets? Because you've even done puppetry yourself. So what is it about the puppets that you like and Henson that you like so much?
Oh, I don't know. It's just part of it's just like a crazy, wacky world. I mean, with
Yeah.
Labyrinth, it's more sort of fantasy. Dark Crystal is very dark. I mean, there's so many different elements to it. It's not
Well,
just
hence the
like
name
the
Dark
Muppets.
Crystal, darling. You know that's what.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Thanks for pointing that one out. I
that's all right.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
But there's so much color
yeah,
um, within what he does, and some of it can be quite sinister, and some of it is completely bonkers, you know. But I mean, Jim Henson was a creative genius in my eyes, and when I did the convention, I mean, to meet people that have worked with him as well, and to hear stories about working with him as well as
yeah,
them
yeah,
being amazing, um, was something else. There's a whole load of escapism watching the movies. Even though I know certain films, people are like, oh, that one's maybe not for me, or
yeah.
some people think certain movies might be a bit trippy. Not naming any names. Love you
No, I
lots.
wonder who that could have been. But
I
yeah,
know, don't know. Um, but we all like different stuff at the end of the day,
yeah,
and that's what
absolutely. Yeah.
makes us individual.
Mm,
And I know the like plugging Disney Plus, they've put all of the Muppet Show series on there, so starting
yeah,
to watch those from start to finish because I used to watch them as a kid. I used to love
yeah.
watching the Muppet Show at the weekend, um, but just from what they were doing, I never really. Not that it's I didn't pay attention, but it was just the spectacle of the thing, and then going back and watching it, you see it in a like a different light, completely different light,
Yeah,
so.
because like I say, you've done puppetry as well. So was it the fact
Mhm.
that you had such an interest and a fondness for Jim Henson, the Muppets, and everything like puppety that you thought, "Well, I would like to try this," because you played Audrey too, didn't you, in the Little Shop of Horrors, and you made your
Yeah,
own puppet as well, didn't you?
yeah, I mean, I think the first thing we did with puppets was Avenue Q, that I
Yeah,
directed and you were in with a great company. I mean, that was we played to sold out houses, which was fantastic.
yeah,
And to actually we did a workshop, with Nigel Plaskett, I think it
yeah,
was, and that was a whole day's workshop of knowing it was slightly different eye lines and stuff to learn, but it was just amazing. Making a character come to life
yeah.
is just such great
It
fun.
it I will testify, it was difficult, it was hard work
Mm,
because when I raise my hand like that, my that is my natural. So when I've got a puppet, the eyes are actually looking that way, and I'm
yeah,
looking that way, but I mean, you've got to
yeah,
turn your hand like
yeah,
that. And when you're doing that for like 3, 4 hours at a time when you're
mhm,
rehearsing and or you're doing a show, it does it, it
yeah.
can make your arm ache and stuff like that.
I
So
think
it
there
is.
were Yeah, there were a lot more rules within that because that
Yeah,
particular show, your eye line had to be the puppet eye line, whereas I think on TV shows,
right,
puppets aren't next to you; they're above you.
right.
So
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't matter
God, it's
where
even
the
gotta be
puppet is
worse. Yeah,
looking. Yeah, the puppet doesn't it doesn't matter where it's looking or what it's doing at any one time because it's like above you. So there's a lot more
yeah,
flexibility with the characterization. Yeah, and puppetry with Audrey 2 on stage again, that was quite demanding, physically demanding.
well, it
The
was. I
little
remember
one.
you coming back and you come in bruises and
Yeah.
stuff like that, didn't you?
Yeah, well, it was a very heavy puppet built of,
Yeah,
I don't know what metals it was made of, but it
yeah,
was super heavy. And to continue doing that, whereas when they're doing a show, I mean, there are a lot of clips floating about at the moment on Instagram and YouTube where specific one that I think we actually watched this morning, with Frank Oz, where he was doing Yoda, and they'd made
yeah,
him more of a latex than,
yeah,
the original fabric, so he weighed a
yeah,
ton. So
yeah,
he couldn't do it for too long, and then he's just, like, dropping his arm
yeah,
down,
yeah,
because he was so heavy.
yeah,
But yeah, it's certainly, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to make characters come to life. But we had
yeah.
to do a lot of syncing and things off stage because I didn't have the luxury of having a camera or a screen inside, so everything had to be done with memory and,
Wow.
what the offstage voice was doing, so
Yeah.
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 No, it was
That's
great
that
fun.
must have been hard work. But I mean,
Mm.
I went to watch and I thought you did a fantastic job, and that's just me being biased, but you did.
Oh.
So, I mean, to be on, yeah, yeah. Do you have a sentimental or prized piece within your collection, other than me, of course?
Oh, well, there goes that answer.
Oh, damn, sorry.
Um, oh, dang. Can I go and have another quick look round?
No, no, you should have known this already. You knew it was coming.
Oh,
What's the matter with you?
oh, did
Unbelievable.
I? Um, prize piece, prize piece. I don't really have one single prize piece.
Yeah.
I couldn't pinpoint one.
It doesn't have to be the
Um,
most expensive piece that you've got in within your collection, but one that sort of like stands out and well, means a lot to you.
mm, um, I suppose maybe just for sentimentality
Yeah.
reasons, we're gonna hit on the labyrinth. I have, one of the original fiery plushes, that
Yeah.
was given to
Okay.
me
Yeah.
by my mum.
There's a
Um,
story behind that though, isn't there? Because you were saying that all these other kids got these great toys and you were
yeah,
given that or something along the lines.
I don't know if they do this anymore, but sort of back
Yeah.
in my day, we used to go to these sort of, entertainment places. I think the one we went to was called Blazers. I think there's one called Lakeside, like where they have the darts and stuff, where they have a stage and you go and you have a meal and there's like entertainment. One year I think we went to see, and it was that year actually, we went to see Grot Bags and Rod Hull and Emu. And in the middle of the act, so halfway through, a chap will come up on the microphone and say, "Oh, we've got some birthdays, let's say happy birthday to," and they'll have a nice little list, a bit like they do that on Panto, I think, sometimes these
Yeah.
days. Um, and they'll get given, maybe somebody's given them a cuddly toy to give to the kid, and the kid goes up and goes, "Oh, thank you very much." And yeah, so that was what my mum did, because we'd seen the film in the cinema, and she bought this pink fiery plushie, and the chap had it at the top, and they said, "Oh yeah, and it's Georgina and her birthday, and she's however old she is today, and come up and get your whatever that is." And just well, the other kids have got little cute, cuddly, fluffy teddy bears, and I've got this thing that you can rip the arms and the head off, and he was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Oh, well, there you go, dear. Happy birthday."
But you were
So I think
you
that's
cool
just
with that though? You happy
yeah,
with that?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
definitely. Definitely. I just
yeah,
wished I'd had the whole set back then. I do have the
yeah,
Pseudodymus now from the original,
yeah.
but I've only got those 2. I think they did an original Ludo, I'm not sure. Um, but yeah, that probably is prized because it's one of the first things that I remember as a kid getting that my mum gave me, and it was
That
quite a
is so
thing.
cool. I will admit it is ugly, but it does look pretty cool in the collection, I've got to say. I mean, yeah, it's
Yeah.
a fantastic collection. Do you have a grail piece you're after? Again, it doesn't have to be the most expensive thing in the world. It could be something that you've seen at a toy fair. You didn't get it and then decided to go and get it, then went back and it had gone, or you've seen it in a store or somewhere like that.
Um Oh gosh. I think the only thing I can think of at this moment, because there could be many Grail pieces to come, you never know, but it's until you see something. I think in the Star Wars community, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you know everything that's out there, you think, oh
Yeah,
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 like the sail barge is a lot of people's
yeah,
Grails that they haven't managed to get, um, so something that I've seen that I had the chance at, and I thought I was like, oh, that's a bit expensive, is in the Palisades, and that is
right,
Jim Henson's actual little character.
right,
So I think that's probably something I would really love to have in the collection, but
yeah.
they do go for mega bucks.
Yeah, because you saw a Gonzo as well, didn't you? A toy fair that was going for it was a lot of
Yeah.
money. It wasn't as much as some things, but now
Mm.
that's we've
It's
not seen
almost
that
doubled, if
since.
not tripled in price, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was a very
yeah,
but the thing was, it was a very large Gonzo in a box,
yeah,
sort of imitation puppet, and I mean, you could get one made if you just literally wanted one to replicate him at great
yeah,
expense.
yeah,
Um, and I could have bought it, but I think it was the space as well. Um,
yeah. But we
you
don't
know,
worry about space, do we, dear?
oh, but do we not? Okay.
Well,
Oh,
obviously not. No.
if that's the case.
Yeah,
But yeah, do I regret not getting it now? Maybe, because they've gone sky high, but
yeah, yeah,
it's not the be all and end all. I wouldn't think, "Oh, I really, really want that now." I'd rather have the Palisades Jim Henson, I think.
yeah.
I have the pop figure of Jim Henson, so that's
Okay.
really cute holding Kermit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
No,
probably
cool,
what I would be
cool.
looking out for.
Before I go on to the next question, I just want to go back round to what you currently collect. I mean, I know you like you've got some Lego, you've got some Lego sets, so
Mhm.
you like the Lego. Um, you've also there's a like a Princess Leia collection that we sort of like got going because we've been lucky enough to meet Carrie Fisher and stuff like that. So, what is it about Lego and Carrie Fisher that you sort of
Oh, what's the link
like?
between there's a bit of a link between Lego and Carrie Fisher. Um, I mean, Lego, it's gone a little bit off the boil, I think. I think at one
Yeah,
point, the first few sets we had, I couldn't wait to build it, and I'd have to
yeah,
get it all
yeah,
done in a day and all that sort
yeah,
of stuff. The sets are very expensive these days, the ones that we
yeah,
like. I mean, the Cinderella Castle's one that I've got. Um, but I think just the you can do you're playing with it ultimately, aren't you? You're building it, so
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's something to do, and then you've got something at the end of it.
yeah,
Um, and I think the Carrie Fishers for us, I mean, the first one I believe I bought was the larger, I don't know what scale that is, but the larger doll of her on the land speeder,
yeah.
not the land
That is
speeder,
that's 12 inch.
speeder
That
bike.
is a 12 inch
Yeah,
figure. Yeah.
yeah, the 12-inch on the speeder bike, and we found that bizarrely at a classic car show.
I know, decent price as well as I
Yeah, I
recall.
mean, it wasn't in box, but actually I quite like that.
Yeah,
Sometimes if they are in box, I have a bit of an issue with, well, do I take it out? Do I not take it out? And then
yeah,
do you chuck the box? You haven't got the space for it. Whereas if it just comes as it is and it's a cheaper price, then everyone's a winner because you haven't got to worry
yeah,
about where you're going to put the box and you can just display it out. So
yeah,
that was the start, I want to say, of the carry display, if you like.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
And then Hot
it's
Toys
certainly
came
grown,
along.
hasn't it? So, yeah, Hot
Mhm.
Toys. I mean, some of those Hot Toys
Yeah.
are fantastic. There's still a couple that would mind getting you at some point, but, um,
Mm.
with uh, as far as dolls houses are concerned, because you said your mum is, like, still heavily into dolls houses. I mean, it's only recently that she stopped doing the dolls house fair, like,
Mm.
because you used to cater for them, didn't you, and stuff like that, and
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, have you ever thought about going down that route of collecting, going into the dolls' houses, or is that something that's not really sort of interested you at this moment in time, but who knows, maybe down the line?
I don't know if dolls' houses would be my thing going forward. I mean,
Yeah,
I did used to make little dolls' houses. Suppose I had my own bakery when I was a kid. We used to actually go and display some of them at dolls' house fairs, not to sell,
yeah,
but just to display so people could walk around and have a look at them.
yeah,
I had a little bakery. I remember actually, yeah, that's coming back now. I remember vividly. It was a tall bakery with a little living accommodation up the top, and I put it on a turntable and I was showing all these people the cakes that I'd made and all this sort of stuff, thinking, look, I was the bee's knees, me making all these little cakes and put them on the stands. And yeah, so back then, yes, but I mean, houses are very big. There are certain styles,
yeah,
like some of the Gots chalks are quite small. Again, they're extremely expensive. But some of the larger ones, the hacker houses, um, they're just big. They just take up a heck of a lot of space.
yeah, yeah.
So
No,
I don't
absolutely.
think I'd wanna go. I can appreciate them,
Yeah,
but it's not something that I'd want to actually collect, I don't think. I
okay.
mean, one might make its way into the collection one day,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Yeah, and you like your Loungefly bags as well. We can't not mention your
yeah,
Loungefly bags. You've got a
yeah,
nice
no,
little collection of Loungefly going on. What is it about
yeah.
those bags that you
Oh, they're
like
just
yourself?
fun. They're just fun,
Yeah,
and they're actually really serviceable as well. You can get a whole heck of a lot in a lounge fly.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so, well, again, lack of space is limiting the collection. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh god. If we've touched on toy fairs and toy conventions and stuff like that, because I mean, I remember our first one that we went to, our London Film at Comic Con, and I'd been to a couple previous to that, but that was like about probably 10 years prior to that.
Mm,
You were quite nervous about going up to meet people, weren't you? As in, like, we're chatting to me. There was the cast of the ET there, and there was no one there, but you
mm,
weren't too sure about going
yeah.
to get them. I mean, you soon sort of overcome that, didn't you, and stuff like that. So, if there was any toy fair or convention that you go to in the world, which one would it be and why?
Any toy c I mean, I'd like to go to Celebration in LA,
Yeah,
the
well,
next
we're
Celebration in
talking about
LA.
that, aren't we? So
Yeah,
we're
um,
discussing that.
I mean, I'm open to anything or anything, to be honest,
Mm.
regarding conventions. I hear Ohio's pretty a pretty big fair.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, But yeah, I think the Star Wars Celebration for LA would be really nice just because I enjoyed so much the last one.
Yeah, I mean, it would have
When
been ideal if it had been in Orlando. I mean, that would have just killed two
Yeah,
birds
it would
with
have been
one stone. That
ideal,
would have
but,
been just better, yeah.
there's other stuff going on in LA, so
There
actually
there is, there is, there's
it's
plenty going on. And, you know, talking about, like, meeting people and stuff like that,
mm,
we've got a nice little collection of autographs, haven't we? I mean, you
yeah,
know, you've met people from Back to the Future and other sort of, like, TV series and stuff like that, and
yeah,
you know, back then, I think the signatures were I would say they were expensive, but fairly affordable compared to
mm,
what people are paying now. I mean,
yeah.
do you miss that going to these, like, London Film and Comic Con and meeting up with people? Because yeah, I think the last one we went to was 2019, wasn't it? Where we actually got autographs from Kiefer Sutherland and the
Yeah,
cast of Gotham.
yeah, yeah. I miss it back then, how it was. I mean, I'm not sure about how it is now because we haven't really gone for many signatures at all from anybody. We
Yeah.
didn't at the last Star Wars Celebration,
No.
but then we'd actually got most of them anyway.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I think as well, you touched upon that I didn't really know how to approach people at one of our first
Yeah, yeah,
conventions. I
yeah,
used to
true,
be a
yeah.
bit coy and a bit like, "Oh, I don't know what
Yeah.
to say."
No, but
But
you were though.
I was, but I was so used to, and people may or may not know this, but I used to do a lot of work in TV and film with animals and stuff. So I was so used to working with big names and celebrities and stuff, but on a working level. So it's never like, oh, hello, can you sign this? And oh, I love what you do. It's just like you just got on with the job. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
to just have somebody presented to you, and actually back then, so you had like Dee Wallace and I can never remember his name, he played the brother,
yeah.
um,
Roberts
Elliot's
no,
brother.
Michael someone, wasn't it? Or was it
Yeah,
Robert?
yeah.
Robert
Well, he
someone.
played Michael, didn't he? Robert,
That's it,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
And there were so many people all along this. I was thinking, "Oh my god, look at these people." And there was nobody queuing for them. There was nobody there. Oh, and
Yeah.
it felt a little bit uneasy, awkward. But then when you did start talking to them, you just thought, "Actually,
Yeah.
this is
Because
pretty cool. This is pretty
because we've
cool."
met quite a few people, haven't we? We met Glenn Morshower, or is it Morshower
Yeah.
from,
Yeah.
he was,
Yeah, and Morsha.
in 24 and stuff like that, and other
Yeah, and
TV
Transformers,
series,
I think, yeah.
Transformers, yeah. We met the cast of Battlestar Galactica,
Yeah,
you know, met Carrie Fisher, which was
yeah,
she was just fantastic, wasn't she?
yeah.
Is there anybody that you'd wanna meet and that you haven't met yet, but you wouldn't mind meeting in the future if they say, for example, we get to a celebration and this certain person was there or whatever?
Um I don't know about celebration meeting because obviously that's all gonna be fairly Star Warsy, isn't it?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I'd like to
Hmm.
I don't think he's gonna come over anymore, and they're doing them all over in the States, but Chris Lloyd would have been one I would have liked to have met because 'cause I've met everybody else, but I didn't get to meet Chris Lloyd.
Did you
Um,
not who did you have I thought you
no.
had your photograph taken with him.
Well, I did have my photo with him, but I would have
Yeah,
kind of liked an autograph meet and
autograph,
greet
right,
because I
okay,
did get
yeah,
an
yeah.
autograph with, what's his
Tom
name?
Wilson?
He was on I don't know, that's it, Tom Wilson, who's
Yeah,
crazy, crazy bonkers guy.
he's a nutcase,
He's
but he's great.
fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's brilliant. So, I didn't get a signing with Michael. I don't know if Michael is he is doing signings, but he is excruciatingly expensive
yeah,
for
yeah,
certain things,
yeah.
but
I mean, I'd like if ever the cast of, Daredevil came over, I
yeah,
would be there
actually,
like a shot. Vincent
I mean,
D'Onofrio, Charlie
I
Cox, John Bernthal.
yeah, I think John was over here at one point, and we
Yeah,
didn't go, did we? I think, but yeah, they would be cool to meet. They'd be
yeah,
really cool to
definitely,
meet. Yeah.
definitely. Um, right, so we're coming to the top of the hour. I've still got a couple more questions to ask for you. This one's gonna be really interesting, and, so if you turned around to me and said, "Right, you can only collect one toy line going forward," which toy line would it be and why? You had
If
to
I
choose a toy line for me to collect. Going forward, you say to me, "Right, I'm done. I've had enough. You're taking up all the room. I want some room for my displays and stuff like that. You can only get one toy line. What's it gonna be?"
um, well, that's tricky. That's tricky
Yeah, well, that's why
because
I asked you the question. I'm interested. I'm
yeah, but you
intrigued. I mean,
see,
because I'm preparing myself for that eventuality if it ever
how are
comes.
you? Okay.
Yeah.
But the thing is, some toy lines that you collect, I don't know how much more you could collect. I mean, I could
Oh,
turn around
true.
to you and
Yeah.
say, "Actually, what have you just picked up recently?" "Oh, yeah, the little helicopter." Just collect
Oh,
masks.
Mask.
Yeah, just collect
Yeah.
masks. Everything else goes. Motu, Batman. Actually, no, maybe no, I changed my mind. You can keep the DC. Yeah,
DC
yeah,
Multiverse.
yeah. Anything Batman. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's what you
Why?
can keep.
Why?
Because then I get to keep my Batman armory.
Oh, yeah, good. Well, no. That's for me. It's for me.
Yeah,
You
but
can
but
keep whatever you want.
it would gel, it would
It
gel.
would gel. Yeah, well, yeah, but so with my
Yeah.
Star Wars with your Princess Leia collection and stuff like that. So
True, true. But there's a whole I'd have a whole lot of space for my stuff before your Star Wars went, I tell you.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, oh dear. So I love the fact that you were like you're cringing every time. Well, I can't even get down that bit at the moment. But when I've got the guitar stands and you're like, "That's gonna fall. That's gonna fall." Have
Mhm.
faith. You have little faith. And
I did
your
have
face
a
when I
hard
said, "Oh
time with
yeah,"
that over there.
did you measure that properly? Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Did it with my eye and stuff like that. And then I couldn't get the barge in, could I? How I wanted
No,
it, so I had to put it at an
no,
angle.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I've got to say, you have got the patience of a saint, with shelves going up left, right, and center, and stuff coming through the door, and
I am still gonna
yes.
cut the holes in the door so that when you open the door, the shelves
Yeah,
just
no,
poke
no, you're
through. I
not.
think
No,
it'd be
you're not.
fantastic,
That's very silly. You can't
me.
do that. That would
Okay.
ruin the door. But so it would be DC. I mean, yeah. I mean, DC is pretty cool. I mean, I don't mind DC, so yeah,
Mm.
I
It's
can live
too
with
easy
that.
to say Star Wars, it's just too easy to say keep Star Wars.
It is. It is. I mean, the thing is, going back, you weren't a big fan of Star Wars. Well, I say a big fan. You didn't really know too much about Star Wars, did you? When we
No,
sort of like first met,
no,
and I mean,
no.
we've watched so many different series, haven't we? We watched the whole of 24. We watched the whole of Battlestar Galactica.
Mm,
The reboot.
yeah.
I think. What else have we watched? We watched so much stuff. I mean, so how come at that time then that you didn't really? You obviously knew about Star Wars. You weren't really
Mm.
into it. I mean, was you just didn't get around to watching it, or you weren't your cup of tea?
I don't know, it wasn't my cup of tea, I didn't have anybody to introduce it to me really, apart from
Oh,
when you came into my life.
yeah,
There was me, I was really sort of only child. School was tough. I didn't have any friends at school. I went through a very boring 5 year that I won't go and bore everybody with.
yeah,
But I didn't from senior up. I didn't have any school friends. There was just
yeah,
me. So it was only what I watched and what I picked up on. We didn't have the
mm,
YouTube really. So I didn't really know what anything was about too much back then.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. It just I don't know. I didn't have anybody to really help introduce it to
I
me.
mean, you've always been a big fan of Disney, haven't you? You've always liked Disney,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
of
I've
course,
always liked
I
Disney.
like Disney, so I mean, we enjoy our vacations over to Florida and Disney World and stuff like that. I mean, again, so what is it with Disney that really sort of like floats your boat that you enjoy so much about Disney?
Just the fancy escapism, I think, especially like
Yeah,
visiting over there. Um, More about maybe the parks and stuff for me. Um, just yeah, just escapism from what's going on in life. Really,
yeah,
it is like a different world.
yeah,
And also the universal side of it as well. I like the universal. Anything like that is just completely different from over here.
yeah, yeah. When just go when we first met, did you ever envisage that if we, when we, got together, we've been going out for a while, and we got our own place. Did you ever envisage that you were gonna be having a place where probably a good 85% is filled with collection?
No, not at all. Considering I don't even know what percentage you would say mine takes up, to be fair. Like 10%?
Well, yeah, I
Maybe?
don't, 'cause you are making me feel bad.
Yeah.
We
No,
do
that's
need to
alright,
make
that's okay.
I mean, it's quite funny because the shelves in the corridor or the hallway, I put up because I was planning to put stuff up there, and you were like, "Oh, I can put this up there," and I was like, "Oh, okay." Yeah. Well, it's fine, you've got your droids up there, haven't you, from
Yeah,
Star Wars and your Muppets and stuff like that. So,
yeah, yeah, which I
I
now
mean,
run out of
I
space.
mean, you do. You've got a lot of really nice stuff. I mean, I've made sacrifices. I've put the Lego stuff away, haven't I? I've taken a lot of that down and put that away and put my Star
I
Wars
mean,
up. Oh
I'm
yeah,
I'm to a point, to be fair, even looking around, that Lego takes a bit of a back seat. I mean, I really like my Lego
yeah,
Cinderella castle, but then that's because it's the castle. I mean, that could have just been a model, do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, that Lego now for me is just a bit of a backseater, I think.
yeah,
I'd enjoy building it and that's great, but again, just the cost and then, now it's gotta go somewhere. It's almost like puzzles. A lot of people like to stick the puzzles, don't they?
Yeah.
But
But
again,
then where'd
it's
you put
we
them?
have no
Yeah.
wall space and,
No,
keep
no.
it flat maybe in
Well,
a
we have
line.
got a lovely bit of wall space to your right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it's a nice bit of wall space, but you just said no to that straight away. I mean, which is fair
yeah.
play. I
I
mean,
think to be honest, you can start getting real busy, and when it starts getting real busy, it just is
yeah,
gonna look too much.
yeah,
One day
yeah.
we will have a slightly bigger place, which would be
Yeah,
very
yeah,
nice.
yeah, yeah. That's fine. That's okay. But,
No,
and
awesome.
would you want your own room specifically with your collection bits in it?
If we had an extra one,
Oh,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I would like that. I mean, I
yeah,
think that would be pretty cool.
yeah.
That'd be
No, it'd
pretty
be
cool.
very nice to have like a more of a concentrated, you know,
Yeah,
concentrated
yeah.
space because
I mean, I
some of
can
the
put your shelves
cupboards
up. I
have
mean,
got
I'm good at putting shelves up.
you're gonna put in shelves. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, good at sanding walls down as well. Just not good at using the right colour paint, but there you go. So,
It's fine.
like I say, we've got 2 questions left. Oh,
Okay.
did you, yeah,
Ooh,
you did answer that question. Okay, I was
yeah.
listening, honestly. I was
Oh, were
listening, but
you? You
yeah,
sure?
yeah, 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 I
Okay.
think so. Yeah, yeah, it was DC. You wanted me to collect DC
Mm.
Multiverse only. That was it. I
And
think
you can
Sol would be happy with that because he likes a bit of DC Multiverse,
yeah,
doesn't he, old Si?
better.
DC Forever and all
Mhm.
that sort of stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
very much.
what gives you that toy collecting buzz?
Uh, I love trying to find something that, trying to find something you've been looking for never usually happens, but when it does,
Yeah,
it's exciting. Just
yeah,
that excitableness and finding something that you had as a kid. So I have done started collecting some standalone things where I just sort of got one piece of this and one
yeah,
piece of
yeah.
so you very kindly bought me a mask thing and
Yeah, the
but I
Hurricane,
won't
the Hurricane.
yeah,
It was the
the
Hurricane.
hurricane,
Yeah, yep.
sorry, mask
That's
thing.
all right.
I did have that as a kid. You see, I had that as a kid.
Yeah,
Um, and there's been some other bits that actually I've been gifted by my mum. But it's just the excitement of, oh my God, I had that as a kid and I remember
yeah,
this and
yeah,
it's how I remembered it. And yeah, it's just the excitement. And I think at the fairs going round now, I get more of a buzz because we're meeting and seeing people than
yeah,
the actual part of it. So that's
yeah.
it's kind of a plus
Which is
that
nice
we
because you've really got involved in a big way now, haven't you? With like, because when I first started doing the YouTube, you was sort of like in the background sort of thing, and you were like, "Oh, well, this is your thing." But then you have slowly come out of your shell. You've got involved more. You're doing helping me do the quizzes. You're meeting people at these toy fairs, and I think you, as much as anybody else, are a big part of the community. And I think
yeah, I mean
that's great, and that's really nice because it's something that we can share together, and that we can share it with other people as well, which is
yeah,
pretty
I
cool.
I I do like that, and I mean, I get that it's not for everybody. I get there are other couples out there that, it's more of one person's thing, and they'll let them, well, not let them, it's the wrong terminology, but they'll go off maybe by
Yeah,
themselves and stuff, but I do like that it's a collecting partnership. That is really lovely for me. So I know that, like, tomorrow, we're both going out to a toy fair, for instance,
yeah,
and it's not you and, "Oh, well, I might see you in 6 hours or something," just because,
yeah.
enjoying it together is amazing, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, technically not tomorrow because we'd have already gone to the toy fair. This comes out next week, so when you've
Oh,
ruined that
okay.
illusion, but there you go, brilliant.
Oh,
But no, that's
well,
okay.
let's
But no,
rewind,
yeah, yeah,
rewind.
yeah. No, that's just fine. It's
Yeah,
fine.
so
But I,
when we
I
went
just,
last
I
week
just like the fact that you get involved in it and stuff like that. We've gone to Birmingham Toy Fair. We've gone to all these different conventions
Mhm.
over the years. And like I said, you said it yourself, it's meeting up with people. But when we first went to these conventions and stuff like, we didn't really know anybody. We just had our own
Mhm.
game plan, didn't we? And we were just gone off to do bits and bobs. But now, like you say, Celebration, I think, was the first big one that we both went to, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Back in 2023, where we met Scuba Pete and Leslie and
yeah,
Cy and
yeah,
everybody else that were there, DTM, Helen,
yeah,
Camilla, and VTR Dave. And it was just such a great thing. And we sort of like followed that up last year with the NEC at April, where we basically took over the hotel. Again,
yeah,
Kiss Me While I Come Over, Scuba Pete and Leslie were
yeah,
over.
that was
And
amazing.
it was such a great thing, and we did it again this year, didn't we? In April, and we've got lots of other bits that we've got
Yeah.
planned for the coming year. But it is great, and I'm glad you're enjoying it because, like I say, you are pretty much part of the toy collecting community now. So
Oh, it's
awesome
it's
stuff.
lovely to feel part of and it just feels like a giant family, it
Yeah,
really does.
yeah,
It
yeah,
really, really does. So
yeah,
everybody's been so welcoming,
yeah. Oh,
truly,
definitely.
and it means a lot.
And when it comes to getting toys, I mean, I mean, I know you've got stuff off of eBay because I mean, you like your pins as well, your Disney pins. You're very much into
Yeah.
your Disney pins and stuff like that. I think they've taken a little bit of a back seat. I mean, we did start saying, didn't we, that we are going to collect smaller stuff because it doesn't take up much room, and that didn't really sort of like materialize, did it? Like trading cards and Disney pins and stuff like
They
that. But
pop up occasionally, but
yeah,
yeah.
well, you just had some three recent ones, haven't you? Turn up, so that was pretty cool. But are you happy or happier getting stuff out at toy fairs and seeing stuff in the wild, or are you quite happy just to go on eBay and go, yeah, I'll get that? What, I mean, or do you prefer getting stuff at toy fairs and stuff where you can physically see it and feel it and
Yeah, I
whatnot?
think it's nice to have it in your hands and you can see what condition it's in and,
Yeah,
because not all the descriptions are always what they should be.
yeah,
I picked up quite a few little bits and pieces off of Vinted as well. That's been quite good for finding stuff, and things
yeah.
have
You got some
arrived as
good stuff up there.
described,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
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 yeah, not too bad at all. Um, I think sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming, especially at the NEC, which I love. But you can walk round and I mean, I struggle. Please to holders put things up higher. I really struggle going underneath tables and crawling around in boxes because, the old pins aren't what they used to be and takes about half an hour to
yeah.
stand up again. So most of the time I
Yes,
just pass all those sort of things on by.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it is nicer to find something there and then,
yeah,
I think.
yeah.
But I've
No, I get
bought a
that.
few bits and pieces of it, but it's not usually my go-to unless I'm really trying to find something.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Fair
Then
enough.
maybe, yeah.
Okay, last question then. What does your collection mean to you?
Oh, um, that's a really tricky question.
Oh, was
Um,
it? Oh, okay.
yeah, I think it is because
Why?
well, because I think we talk about so much about finding things and what that means. I mean, I don't want to say everything 'cause it doesn't mean everything to me because you mean everything to me. But
Well, thank you very much.
you're
That's,
very
yeah, I'm happy
welcome.
about that. Cheers.
Hope the check's in the
But
post. Um, but I don't know. It's just lovely having stuff that as I had as a kid
yeah,
and,
yeah,
um, collecting different bits and bobs, going forward.
yeah.
That's a real I know that question. I always I never knew how I would answer it, and I still don't know how I'd
But the
answer
the
it.
thing is that question, I ask it every week, and people come up with different reasons as
Mm,
what their or different answers as to what their
yeah.
collection means to them. I mean, it does depend on the person. I mean,
Mm,
at the end of the day, these are just toys that we're collecting, and it's great.
yeah.
We know that it's not the most important thing in the world, but at the end of the day, it still brings people a lot of happiness, a lot of joy.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean,
it can
it's
be
very
therapeutic to some
nostalgic to
people.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nostalgic. I mean, you get all those feels. So, and some people, it means a lot more than that. Do you know what I mean? I think,
Mm.
some people might be lost without their collection. So there's no right or wrong answer to give. It's just dependent on that person. So
Oh, so I've just done a Jedi mind trick and got you to answer it for me. Thank you so much.
unbelievable, unbelievable. You see what I got put out of Vivi? It's shocking, shocking. Um, well,
Yeah.
that nearly dinner time. So, we g I
Get the
mean, this is
oven
the
on.
longest we've spoken all day, I think, isn't it, really, to
I
be
think
honest
it
with you?
is,
You know, we
ever
don't we
actually,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, to be fair, what happens is, as, I'll get back off a late shift and, you then spend the next hour chatting and stuff like that when I'm, like, tired, or when the football comes on, you start having a conversation. So this has been a perfect opportunity to have a
I'll
conversation.
remember
So yeah,
that.
honest
I'll
note,
remember.
thank you so much. Again, I knew pretty much most of what your answers were going to be, and I just think it's great that you're part of it. For me personally, I love it, and thank you so much. Where can people find you on social media?
I get about a bit. I pop in and out of
Well,
chats.
yeah, I know the toy community know that. We didn't have to publicise that,
Well,
but
I do have, like, a separate channel, um, Sweet Collecting Adventures. I wanna put some more on that. It's very difficult because everything has been on just, like, my normal Instagram under me. And then I created this other sort of let's set up this channel, but I haven't really done anything on it. I've done some things because I wanted to try and keep toy collecting and that community separate from just kind of just me stuff. But then it's
yeah,
all just encumbersome. So I don't really. I want to try and create a little bit more on that. I'm working on thumbnails at the moment for it, and maybe just go with that one for the toy bits and then drop everything
Yeah.
else. But it's very hard because it's you and your life, but that's probably the longest answer you've ever had to that question, I
No,
should think. Is it not?
no,
Okay.
it's not.
That's a
But
bad
did so you've answered it then. So where can people find you on social
Yeah.
media? Yeah, you never mentioned Instagram or Facebook or anything like that. I mean,
Yeah,
you're on those as well, yeah?
Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and
Okay.
YouTube.
Right. So when it comes to the links to your social media platforms, do you want me to put you down or your as well as your sweet collecting adventures or
Yeah,
just
you can do. I mean, we'll
oh,
play
okay,
it
thank
by
you.
ear. We'll figure it out. We've got that
Well,
luxury.
yeah, yeah, we have got a few days before this goes up. So yeah, awesome stuff. Well, I just want to say a huge thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you've got to put the dinner on in a second, so I won't keep you too long. I'm famished, but yeah, no, thank you so much. It does mean a lot that you've done this. It means a hell of a lot to me that you're part of the community and that you're so supportive as you are. So thank you so much.
Oh,
It's
thank you.
marvelous.
That's what
Thank
we
you.
do.
It is. It is. Anyhow, if you stay to the end, thank you so much. It really is appreciated. And take care, stay safe, and we shall see you in the next video. Bye for now.